The mist hung low over Willow Creek, a secluded ribbon of water tucked away in the rolling hills of northern Oregon, on a crisp October morning in 2023. I've been coming to this spot for nearly a decade, a quiet haven where the world's noise couldn't reach. My grandfather had built the small wooden dock here, hidden behind a grove of cedars, and after leaving my job as a paramedic, this place became my refuge. Each dawn, I'd settle in with a thermos of coffee, a creaky lawn chair, and a fishing rod that had seen better days. The creek didn't care about the lives I'd failed to save or the nights I'd spent haunted by sirens. It just flowed, steady and silent, offering the kind of peace I'd never found in therapy. That silence was my sanctuary until it was shattered. I was unhooking a trout, the water mirroring the pale sky, when a jarring pop song blasted through the stillness. Laughter followed, sharp and invasive, then the clink of wine glasses and the thud of a cooler hitting the ground. Through the fog, a group of women in bright athleisure and floppy hats emerged like a neon parade. They set up folding chairs, rolled out yoga mats, and claimed my dock as if it were public park. At their helm was Vanessa, a name I'd learn later, but could have guessed from her commanding strut and the clipboard she wielded like a scepter. She glanced at me, a grizzled man in a flannel jacket, and muttered to her group, "Great, this old fisherman's ruining our vibe." I stood there, fish in hand, wondering if I'd stumbled into a reality show. Vanessa marched over, her eyes scanning my tackle box like it was an offense to her aesthetic. "This is a private retreat," she announced. "You'll need to leave. We've got a sunrise yoga and wine session booked." I blinked, caught off guard. "Ma'am, this is my dock. My land." She laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "No, this is community space. I checked with the neighborhood association. We're reclaiming it. Go fish somewhere else, or better yet, go home. You reek of worms." The insult didn't sting as much as her audacity did. This dock wasn't just a fishing spot. It was where I'd mourned my sister's passing, taught my daughter to cast a line, and found solace after years of chaos. It was mine, and she was standing on it like she owned the world. I tried reasoning. "This isn't association land. It's private property deeded to me." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "My map says otherwise, and I don't see any signs." "Sounds like you're just scaring people off." Before I could argue, she clapped her hands and shouted, "Ladies, group photos on the dock." A swarm of women in designer sandals stormed over, knocking over my bait can and stepping on my rod. One posed with Vanessa, who called it reclaiming nature from grumpy old men. I didn't yell or shove back. I packed my gear and left, but I wasn't retreating. I was regrouping. That afternoon, I visited the county office, pulling my deed and printing 5 copies. I ordered bold, waterproof signs, private property, no trespassing. Neighborhood association has no authority. I called my lawyer, not to sue yet, but to document everything. The next morning, I returned to find glitter in the water, empty wine bottles floating, and my chair sunk in the creek. Vanessa hadn't just invideged, trashed my sanctuary. I planted the signs, each one a stake in the ground. But Vanessa wasn't done. A week later, an official-looking letter arrived from the neighborhood association, listing absurd violations: fishing without permission, leaving hazardous materials, creating a nuisance. It was laughable, but it meant war. Vanessa thought she could bully me off my land. She didn't know I'd spent years navigating red tape and trauma. I had leverage, and I was ready to use it. The first sign of Vanessa's escalation was a steel chain across the path to my dock, padlocked to rebar posts with a laminated sign: "Private Event Zone. Authorized by Neighborhood Association. Trespassers reported." I stood there, almost impressed by her nerve. Instead of cutting the chain, I photographed it, recorded a video with GPS coordinates, and narrated the boundary markers proving my ownership. Vanessa thrived on chaos, but I'd bury her in facts. Another association letter arrived, threatening fines for violating community decorum. I laughed. They had no jurisdiction over me. My house, my land, even my mailbox sat outside their reach. I delivered a folder of documents: deed, property map, County records, though, the association office. The man who took them, a tired guy in a polo shirt, looked nervous. He knew Vanessa was dragging them into a legal mess. She doubled down. That weekend, I found my dock draped in a white sheet, fake vines, and a plastic arch labeled Serenity Cove, wedding prep space. Vanessa stood in the middle, walkie-talkie in hand, directing her crew like a general. "We're testing my niece's wedding setup," she beamed. "This will be a community venue. You should thank Might'll raise your property value." I pointed at the dock. "That's my land. You're trespassing." She rolled her eyes. "Without a giant sign, how's anyone supposed to know?" I filed reports. "You're harassing us during a family moment." I pulled out my phone, recording. "I'm documenting, not harassing. Keep going. It's all on file." Her smile faltered, but she turned away, barking orders. I stepped back, knowing this wouldn't end with words. I played the long game. A friend from my paramedic days, now a drone photographer, flew over and captured Vanessa's setup wine dumped in the creek, cigarette butts littering the shore. Environmental violations, time-stamped and geotagged. I called a real estate contact, casually asking about buyers for a creekside parcel outside association control. "Seafood companies would kill for that," he said. "Cold storage, packaging hubs theory desperate." I didn't commit, but the seed was planted. If Vanessa wanted my land so badly, maybe she'd get more than she bargained for. She escalated again, posting a video online, calling me a creepy squatter, intimidating women. It flopped, but it showed her desperation. I stayed calm, sipping coffee on my porch, watching the creek's reflection. Then I made my move. At the association's monthly meeting, I presented a county map showing my parcel's boundaries, the dock squarely within my lines. "This land is mine," I said. "Vanessa's events are illegal. Cease and desist, or my lawyer takes over." The room went silent. Vanessa scoffed, claiming old maps showed the dock as common space. "Show me those maps," I challenged. She stammered. A board member, Paul, reviewed my documents, his face grim. "This checks out. He's not even in our association." Vanessa slammed the table. "He's ruining the view." Another member cut in. "If it's his land, we can't touch it. We're liable if we try." I left, knowing I'd rattled her. 2 days later, Vanessa was at the creek with a tape measure, frantically checking boundaries. I watched amused. Then Paul showed up at my door with an apology letter from the board, confirming my ownership and dropping all claims. Vanessa had refused to sign, filing a complaint accusing the board of collusion. I framed the letter and hung it by the dock. Vanessa saw it, kicked over my bait can, and stormed off. I knew she'd try something bigger. I called my real estate contact again. "About that seafood plant, let's talk." A week later, a seafood distribution rep inspected the land, thrilled by its isolation and water access. I signed preliminary agreements, turning my quiet retreat into the future site of a commercial hub with trucks and chillers. Vanessa didn't notice the survey stakes yet, but she would. Construction began with a roar. Diesel engines woke the creek at dawn, and Vanessa's dream venue became a muddy lot. She arrived mid-morning, screaming about environmental terrorism. The site manager, Tom, calmly explained the permits and zoning. Vanessa pointed at me across the creek. "He's doing this to spite me." Tom shrugged. "We're just leasing. Take it up with your association." She kicked a cone and left, fuming. Her protest flyers, a Stop the Fish Factory sign, noise complaints failed. The community saw jobs, not pollution. Local businesses got cheap seafood. Teens got work. Vanessa's narrative crumbled. She tried a lawyer, but my attorney dismissed her nuisance claim in one sentence. Then came the grand opening. County officials, news crews, and locals gathered for speeches and shrimp cocktails. I watched from the dock, seeing Vanessa's curtains twitch. She lurked in the trees, spying, but didn't approach. The commissioner thanked the generous landowner, and I raised my hand. No gloating, just principle. My piece, reclaimed with forklifts. Weeks later, Vanessa's garden wilted, her spirit broken. A shaky note arrived. "You've ruined everything. I'm selling." I tucked it away, cast my line, and listened to the plant hum. It wasn't revenge, it was balance. She tried to steal my sanctuary. I gave her noise she couldn't escape. What would you have done if my shoes fought her with words or played the long game? Was I too harsh, or did Vanessa deserve it? Should I have sold the land for peace, or was teaching her a lesson worth it? Comment below, like, and subscribe for more stories like this.